I already pressed the button.
Can I charge my phone now?
No.
No?
Actually, yeah. You
Can I?
probably can.
Because it's going to die.
We're live. We are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here. It's the fun time of the week. It's Wednesday. It's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're here with you because you guys are awesome. And that is why we all get to hang out with you. Very cool stuff. We've got a number of things going on. Do you need help here? Plugging in your electronic device?
Okay, I got it.
Okay, did you turn down your volume?
I did.
Okay, I think we're on the right track then. If you've fixed your electronic devices and we don't have a volume, that's pretty cool. So anyway, thanks for being here. It's pretty awesome that you're here hanging out with us. We've got a whole lot of stuff going on tonight. We've got multiple giveaways, right? Because I mean, it's our 200,000 celebration. So I figured let's do a few giveaways. We have I would say a nice announcement to make as well later on.
It's fun.
It's a fun announcement.
It's really fun.
So we've got that happening, and yeah. So we're gonna have some things going on tonight that I hope will make it pleasing for you. Where is all of my stuff? There we go. So yeah, glad you're here. Hope you've been having a wonderful week. It was one of these weeks where at least around us it's been warm, and then it's gonna get cold tomorrow, and I think we're supposed to get snow.
I heard anywhere from 2 to 6 inches. I think it's
not at all
totally
happy
wrong.
about that because we were actually out riding motorcycles on Sunday. And I thought about taking my bike on Monday, and I was running late, and I don't want to be rushing and riding a motorcycle in morning rush hour traffic. It's just a bad trio of combinations, and I didn't. But now I kind of regret it because now we're getting snow again, and who knows when the next time is going to be. But anyway, you're not here for motorcycles. You're here for fish. Things that have been going on this week, as we often talk about, in terms of videos. On Sunday, we did the 40-gallon breeder centerpiece fish options, and so we continued that series. We've done 10-gallon centerpiece fish. We did 20. We skipped the 29 and we went to the 40 breeder. Now, why did we skip the 29? Quite honestly, when I look at a 20 long and I look at a 29, I think the centerpiece fish for both tanks are pretty much identical. I mean, I guess we could come up with 5 additional centerpiece fish and just label it a 29-gallon, but I don't know if that serves our viewers optimally. Do you?
Not
and
necessarily.
So I wanted to go to the 40 breeder because it's substantially different. And I thought we came up with some cool and unusual options. I think at least 4 of the 5 were fish that most people might not have considered in the past. All right. And they're really, really awesome options for a 40 breeder. So if you're thinking about it or have a 40 breeder, check out that video from Sunday. And all of those fish would work well on a 55-gallon or above. It's just that was the tank size that I think they would work well in. Today, on the small scape, what did we do? What did you do?
Talking about crypts.
Talking
Few
about
things
crypts.
not to do.
With your crypts?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the mystery. So if you're into plants, go to the small scape, and if you're into crypts, you'll learn some things that maybe aren't the best thing to do for them. So that's pretty awesome. Tomorrow we'll have the members video out. We'll be down in the fish room. And then Sunday, I've got a couple video ideas that I want to potentially release. And so we're just going to see which one wins out for Sunday. But I think it's going to be awesome. That's my hope, at least. So that's the land of videos. And awesome. Thank you, everybody, for all the congratulations of 200,000. We're going to get into that in a moment, but thank you so much. And I saw Noah. Thanks for becoming a prime timer, primate, prime time partner. Appreciate that. Dave is here. Whip is here. Oink Master Supreme Forever is here. Thank you to our moderators. Really appreciate that. Just see y'all flowing through the comments here. That's pretty awesome. And look, these were the things I was talking about that I wanted to put on the thumbnail today. These guys. But I don't know what those are called. So Stacy, she put in these little party things, and I don't know what those little party things are called. They're like party cones with things coming out of them.
Party cones.
That's what I call them. I call them party cones, but I'm sure you probably have a different, more official name.
Wait, I gotta see here. No.
Places we're going to be in the next few weeks. This Sunday is, and I mentioned this before, it's our first ever Quad City swap. So that's in Davenport, Iowa.
Exciting.
And by the way, thank you for those of you who are watching who have already put in pre-orders. We got more pre-orders than I anticipated already, which is a good thing. And have actually sold out of like 3 or 4 different fish. So that was also pretty cool. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to meeting some new people because I see a lot of different names compared to our normal crew, which is awesome. So Looking forward to hanging out with you guys at the Quad City Swap. I hear they've got food there, and it's all kinds of fun. So that's going to be awesome. If you're in the Chicagoland area and don't want to drive out to Davenport, don't worry, because the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, GCCA, gcca.net, they've got their swap coming up, not this Sunday, but next Sunday on the 26th, I believe that is. And that's in Northbrook. And then the Saturday after that, on the 4th, is the Greenwater Aquarius Society swap. That's in Tinley Park. And then, I mentioned this last week for the first time, but we will be at the Motor City Aquarium Club on the 9th, which is a Thursday, and I will be doing a talk, and the talk is going to be on Lake Tanganyika fish, just kind of like a beginner's guide. So really looking forward to that. So that's kind of what's happening, what's coming up in the next 3-4 weeks or so. So excited.
Sweet.
Definitely excited to be out and doing all these swaps, and the club things are starting to pick up the talks. We have another one in Missouri in the St. Louis area in April, which I'm excited about as well. So that's what's happening. So yeah, I think the theme for tonight is mostly celebration. 200,000 subscribers. I'll tell you, I think I've mentioned this before, but when we started Primetime Aquatics, it was me and it was Luke and Eli, our two boys, and we were sitting in the fish room and like, you got to do this. You got to be on YouTube. I'm like, I don't know. Why do I need to be on YouTube? You know? And they're like, well, you got all these fish, you got this fish room, and you're a teacher, so you just got to be on YouTube. So we came up with the name, and it's hard to believe because there's two things that actually are happening in the next couple of weeks. One is, we hit that 200,000 subscriber milestone. Thank you to all of you because you're the ones that made that happen. So really appreciate that. And we will be on YouTube now for 6 years. I think the first video we released was February 27th of 2017. Yeah. So that was the first one. Still up on the website if you want to see a really, interesting video. If you just go to the videos and like sort by date, but then flip it around to the oldest video first, there it will be in all of its glory with bad audio, interesting video, and a very different looking fish. Well, not a different looking fish room, I suppose, but I guess it was a little bit different looking.
Might be. Didn't they change it to where you can't like search by oldest video? I thought I had tried looking. You
just gotta keep flicking through 1,000 videos until you get to the bottom. I thought you could. Certainly on desktop
used to be.
You can. Maybe not on mobile, but on desktop I know you can still do that. But yeah, it's hard to believe it'll be 6 years in just a couple of weeks. I never thought in a million years. If you would have asked me 6 years ago if what this was going to be, I thought it was just going to be me posting a video every once in a while and just talking about fish. And I even remember saying back then, I just want to have a nice community, as a group of people where we're talking about fish and they're just pleasant to be around. And that's you. That is all of you for the most part. And the really unpleasant people, at least you're allowed to watch. But if you've been thoroughly unpleasant, it might be a little bit hard to make comments and things like that, because we've tried very hard. We've tried very hard to make this a place where everybody can come in. We can talk about fish. There's enough unpleasantries in the world as it is right now. We don't need that spilling over into the fish keeping, because fish keeping to me is a hobby where it's supposed to be relaxing. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to bring joy to your life. And if you're going to be watching a channel about fish keeping, I think it should fall in line with that. And so that's what we've tried to do over the last 6 years. And hopefully 6 years from now, we'll be having a conversation and talking about how cool it is then too.
And maybe in another 6 years, you might be at 205.
Maybe. You never know. Again, the number itself isn't the important thing. It's the people. I would rather have less subscribers, but have them be the type of people that you are and have been for the last 6 years than be dealing with problems and having a bigger number, because that's not fun for anybody. And that's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be supportive. It's supposed to be fun. Yeah, we'll learn some things, but just have a good-natured channel. And that's what we've tried to do. And that's really you, because all of you have contributed to that in your attitudes and the way that you treat people. And that's one of the things, too, I look at is I try to pay attention to how people are responding to other people's comments. And I don't know, like the behind the scenes stuff, we have a list of blocked words that are a mile long. Just obviously like the inappropriate words and all that stuff. And we do that because, I just never wanted it to devolve into like this big swearing thing or, people ripping on other people. There's other places that you want that, go to Facebook. I mean,
I've heard
people always tell me, well, hey, why don't you comment more? I kind of lurk in the background. I see a lot. I I see a lot, in the special Facebook groups. And, oh my gosh, I don't know how people do it. I feel so bad because you've got people who are just truly starting out in the hobby, and you can already tell that they're like, and they'll even preface this like, please don't yell at me, or please don't, be mean to me, but I have this question. If you've got to start it out that way, you've already lost in that group. You've literally already lost. And I never wanted that to be us, right? I mean, it's got to be a place where people can come and learn. I tell my students in class all the time, when I have office hours are a place where you can be okay asking the dumb questions. That's what we're there for. We're there to mispronounce names and to say things out loud that after you say them, like, oh, wait, that didn't make a lot of sense. That's fine. The office hours are the place to do that because that's how we learn. And I've always kind of treated our channel and the comment section the same way. And hopefully, and by the way, if someone ever responds to you in a very harsh way that's just completely inappropriate, I want to know about that. The best way to do that is to send me a separate message, because I don't tend to see, I don't pay attention to like the long streams of comments going back and forth as much. But obviously if they responded in a way that hit one of those blocked words, that would be a different thing. But if there's ever someone that's just really being out of control, and we've got our moderators, we look at that stuff, but I'd want to know, because this is not the channel for that.
It's not cool.
Yep. So yeah. What do you got? You want to say something?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people here. I saw Colorado being represented. Let's see, Billy John Young in London, UK. Wow. Someday I gotta go. Night. Yeah. And then Sketty Inona, it says that she may see us in Quad Cities.
Sweet. Yeah.
Weather permitting. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
I can't wait. Really Cincinnati. Oh my gosh, Minnesota. Alabama. Waterloo, Iowa.
Ben, if you're in Waterloo,
Tennessee.
Iowa, man, you need
South
to be going
Dakota,
to Quad Cities too.
Kansas.
Yep.
I could just Twin Cities. I could just read these like.
Yeah, I do find it interesting, especially like Maui.
Maui.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, people from all over the world. That's one of the things too. When I started this channel, I never really fully appreciated that when you put something out on the internet, that anybody can see it all over the world, and so we get comments from everywhere, and it's really cool. And for those of you who are watching from India or parts of Africa, and I'll look at those every once in a while. I will look at those analytics and just see, okay, how many views are we getting from some of these countries? I mean, I'm not like a huge person in geography and stuff, but some of the countries I'm like, wait, oh yeah, there's that country and people are actually watching. This is so freaking cool.
Is anybody in South Carolina? Just want to know.
What's in South Carolina?
Just want to know.
Okay, just want to know, huh? So anyway, yeah, that is what is going on. Thank you again for everybody and for your support. We are definitely going to be answering questions, by the way, throughout this live stream. So we're gonna do that as well. So don't you worry. If you've got questions, like we always say, put the @Primetime Aquatics in front of the question so that we can see it a little bit more easily. Couple things, and you're well aware of this. It's been a little bit of a rough week this week for me already. So can I tell my story?
Sure.
I need to tell my story for the week.
Here we go.
It started out Monday night. In karate, I was sparring Eli, who's now 15. He's 6 feet tall. He's extremely good, very, very fast. And we were sparring. And he came with a roundhouse kick, and I blocked that. And somehow it was a roundhouse kick that he followed up with a spinning back fist that wound up being a side thrust kick. That one I didn't block, and that one landed right under. So I'll kind of block this way. Well, he snuck that one right under my arm and right into my ribs. And they're not broken, but they might as well be. That's basically the way I feel. It hurts to breathe, and I've got basically no sleep Monday night, a little bit more last night. So there was that. And so I'm still like, this whole side is like, oh my gosh, it's like, it hurts. It hurts a lot. I don't think I've ever been hit that hard in the ribs in my entire life. Because even at that point, what we do now, because Eli's got such incredible stamina, is we will kind of rotate 3 adults, and we'll just be like, okay, I did my 2 minutes, you're in. And as soon as you kick me, I'm like, I'm out. Somebody else go in. I'll be back in a minute. So then, don't worry, it gets better. So that was Monday night. Yesterday morning, I'm down in the fish room. Some of you remember I actually did a video on great ways to scrape algae. And I showed you this razor blade holder that has a handle, and so you can actually scrape algae, and you get a little bit more than just holding like a small razor blade or a small algae scraper. And it works really, really well. it was sitting on one of the fish tank stands, and I walked by that fish tank stand, and I knocked that razor blade with that big heavy handle off the stand on our little bow front tank, our 23-gallon bow front. Well, the razor blade part hit me in the leg. So it's very sharp. So at first I didn't even feel anything. I was like, oh, that stinks. And then I looked down. I'm like, that's great. I've got a gash in my leg now, like in my calf area. So I'm like, oh, that's fun. So right before I'm supposed to be headed out to class, I've got to figure out how to not be blooding all over the place. And so eventually, after about 15 minutes, that stopped. And so then I get to class yesterday morning, and it was office hours.
But you cleaned it out really well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't just run out of the house. Yeah,
all that good stuff.
Yeah, I washed it out and everything, and Neosporined it and bandaged it up. And so I get to class, and we got office hours starting right at 8 a.m. And they're like, how come you're not as energetic as you were on Monday? I'm like, well, since I last saw you, I've been kicked in the ribs, didn't get any sleep, and I cut myself with a razor blade on accident. So, yeah, that might be why I'm a little bit more not as energetic, but it's all getting better now. So, yeah, that's my story.
Good times.
Great one. Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah.
So, anyway, do you have anything you'd like to mention, add?
Yeah, let's see, a few that I caught my eye. Let's see. Lauren says that she's from Crook City, Illinois. Or Crook County.
Oh, yes.
Crook County.
Yes.
That's really funny.
Well aware.
And then Jay has 17 tanks now. Everybody congratulate Jay.
Nice.
Pistachio says 2 hours from South Carolina. I was just curious because there's a really big case in South Carolina.
Oh, we don't need to even.
I know, we're not going in that. And then Chris said double McOuch.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I feel like. But
much.
it's all on the right side, so it's all matching. So when I lay down, it's like, okay, I just know right side, not so great.
The right side's jacked up.
Peep 1973, thank you so much for being a member the last 2 months. 200,000 subs, congrats, thank you. Quest, is it normal for bronze cory juveniles to swim in the upper water column? Water parameters in range and other fish are fine down low. Sometimes they can, especially if they're newer. They'll swim a lot more, and then once they settle in, they tend to not spend as much time at the top. But I found that, they will swim around a little bit. They'll go up, they'll do the glass surfing every once in a while. If they've been around for a long time and you're starting to see that, you might just want to make sure that, if you've added any fish recently, that they haven't brought anything in. I was talking with somebody, I don't remember if it was in the live stream or it was a comments or something, but I was talking about ick, and they had mentioned, I think it might have been a comment section, how cory cats are one of those fish where sometimes they won't show any signs of ick. It will be really bad in their gills, but you might not see the spots on them. And one of the things that they'll do is they'll just start to get agitated. They'll look a little bit more uncomfortable. They'll spend more time at the top. They'll kind of do the thing where they're just kind of swimming towards the top and they're not leaving. But if they're just swimming back and forth, it might be fine. In time for when it's time to eat, are they going back down? Are they eating normally? All their stuff coming out of their other end, is that okay? But the big thing is just make sure that no ammonia, no nitrite. Nitrate's less than 20 parts per million. 20 parts per million or less, and that you've got decent flow in your aquarium, that if you've got hang on back, that it's running properly, or sponge filters that they're bubbling properly. Bearded trouses, broken ribs hurt a lot, trust me. No, mine are definitely not broken. I promise you that, because at least I'm pretty sure I actually never had broken ribs, but I don't think I'm in nearly enough pain to say, I broke my ribs. But bruised,
let's keep it that way,
for sure.
On wood, huh?
Yeah. And it's just like every Monday. What was it the one time, the arm bar thing that I wound up in the ground defense of like a month ago or so? Yeah, that felt really good on the elbow. All right side, too. It's just crazy.
I'm thinking maybe you shouldn't spar that boy of yours.
No, sometimes he needs to learn a lesson.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's what he did like a month ago. We were practicing takedowns, and he threw me over his shoulder. Thought that would be funny. That wasn't part of the plan. And then, I proceeded to show him how quickly he could tap out after that. So that was fun.
Do you see all the green hearts popping up?
I see green hearts, yes.
And everybody
Valerie
else giving some green
Tracy.
neon love.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Just want to make sure that
we want green neons to be loved.
Because they are the number one tetra.
Yeah, and we got a whole big giant tank of them. And by the way, if you're into green neons and you're going to be at one of these swaps coming up, trust me, we've got green neons that we will be bringing to Davenport and Northbrook and Tinley Park.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, we're gonna be keeping an eye out for those things. Pete says, yes, when I feed, they go down and eat the algae wafers. Cool. They swim usually back and forth and just hover, but I will keep an eye out for possible issues with ick. Yeah, I would do that just because usually when they're hovering like that, especially if it's a long period of time, or is there something down there that could be bullying them? I know sometimes people will put like, oh, I put a rainbow shark or a red-tailed shark or some type of loach, and they're just a little bit too much for them, and they don't feel safe down there. So that can happen too.
MTS says he got bucket list fish, Chintango Solosi.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yep, you're going to love those.
Fun.
Get them breeding because a lot of people are looking for those fish right now. And
really?
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to get ours up and breeding again too. I don't know what happened to me. Once the stuff happened in 2020, I didn't have a place to sell fish because all the stuff in Illinois shut down, and I stopped pulling a lot of my females, and I just never got back into the habit of pulling them when they were holding. So I need to start doing that again because some of these fish I'm sure people would enjoy. Jennifer, thank you so much for becoming a Primetime or Primate Primetime partner. Hope you enjoy the experience. Appreciate you being here. All right, I think we should do, we've got 3 separate giveaways we're doing tonight, and I want to kind of space them out a little bit, spread them out a little bit, and so I want to do giveaway number 1.
Okay.
Right, we're going to save the big one, I think, for a little bit. Well, not the big one, but the announcement one, the fun one, a little bit later, the unusual one. It's not like a big, huge thing. But so the first thing is, it's our own thing. It is the Primetime Aquatics shirt. And this one here is the blue tri. It's the one that I'm wearing here.
It's the most popular.
So this is going to be the first giveaway of the night. And this happens to be a size large. But if whoever wins this, if you are a different size, you just need to let us know the size, and we'll ship you the size that you want. So this is the first giveaway of the night. It's a Primetime Aquatics shirt. It is the blue tri. It's a very nice blend here. It fits true to form, and yeah.
It's only the 48 states.
Oh yeah. So that's the other couple things too. Is just unfortunately the lower 48s. Unfortunately, because we can't ship anywhere else right now. Someday you're going to get on your game, right?
At some point, I'd like to, definitely.
Yeah, maybe. That would be pretty awesome of you. So the way this works, the way this is going to work is when I say, after I type in the thing that says it's time to think about the thing.
But don't I need a number?
Oh, yeah. You didn't have a number yet?
No.
Oh
I'm going to need 3 numbers. Hold on a second.
We'll get the first one.
I know. I'll get that later. Okay.
I thought you were prepared. Yeah, we're just going to start from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. So the number, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. The first number, she was doing secret codes on Only I Know. The first number, are you ready? And by the way, you got to be in live chat, not top chat. So a lot of people, they get like all confused because like, oh my gosh, I thought I had the number first.
Wait, what?
You can just go here.
Oh, they changed the little symbol.
So now it says all messages.
Why are they always changing stuff?
Yeah, so now it says all messages. Okay. But if you're in that top chat thing, it just shows you messages. It'll always show yours ahead of everybody else's. So it's kind of deceiving in that, oh, I think I won. Well, it's like, no, you got to be in the actual live chat.
And it says not all messages.
Yeah, not the top chat one. Let me just make sure that this thing is all.
Secret code, drink more Ovaltine.
Oh, my gosh.
That's classic.
So are we ready? And let's...
But you didn't say numbers.
Oh, the number's got to be between 1 and 20, and you can go ahead and start typing in your number. It's got to be between 1 and 20. You don't need to hold that up like that if you don't want to.
I just want to make sure that there's no...
Let's see here. Do we already have a winner? I thought I saw it sneak by real fast.
And next time, slow down the chat, bruh.
Oh, well, my bad.
Okay, wait. Oh, it jumped. Oh, geez. Oh, it's jumping. Oh, my goodness.
Hold on a second here. We'll be fine. I think we can stop. Yeah, let's see here. I thought I saw it right away.
Mine's jumping too fast. Here. I can't get it to stop. Oh, I saw.
Yeah, we're good. All right, we can stop now. You can stop typing the numbers.
We're going to have to look on your screen.
Yeah, this is...
Well, go
hold
up.
on. Well, I don't know. Hold on. Definitely stop typing because we have at least one number that came through. So let's just double check real fast. Just make sure. Gosh, 17 was a popular number. It wasn't the number, but it was definitely popular. A lot of people like 17 today. Let's see here. We're scrolling. We're still scrolling. Sorry for the delay.
Just doing a
Sorry
discount
for
double check.
all the suspense. Yeah, it's right there.
Okay.
All right. So the number is 5. And Andy Rink, it looks like you are the winner because you were the first one that typed 5 in that big long thing. Again, got to be in live chat, not top chat. So yeah, don't worry, we got more. So if you didn't win this one, we're going to have more. I promise you. We've got a couple more to do before this night is over. So Andy, you know the deal.
Yeah.
Send us address, the preferred size that you want, and we'll get that out sometime probably this week because that's just how we roll.
That's right, because
So-
you're not going to Quad Cities, right? He's not going.
I don't know.
No, I don't think you're going
There's
this
a
time,
lot
if
of
I remember.
numbers.
Because I remember
All right.
thinking, dang it, we're finally going and you're not going.
So next thing is if you had a question before all these numbers were typed
oh boy,
in,
that's gone.
you're going to definitely want to retype that question because what happens on our side with the live chat is as soon as lots and lots of people start dumping numbers in here, we lose the ability to scroll far enough up to see the previous questions. Like I can't get to them anymore. So if you had some fun, exciting thing to say, some kind of question, just retype it because they're gone. They're all gone.
Andy said he can pick it up at GCCA.
Cool.
If you think you can
Then
wait that long.
Just give us a size. Give us a size, and we'll make that happen.
Oh, Mary Berry wants to know.
Wants to know what?
Andy Rink won. Andy Rink,
Yep.
number 5.
Andy Rink, number 5. That should be a jersey.
Wouldn't that be funny if all three we
Now
picked
pitching,
5?
Number 5. What?
If we picked for all 3 giveaways, we picked number 5. Wouldn't that be funny? Because after the second giveaway, you'd probably know that
Yeah.
the next one we'd be picking
Then it
5.
would just be a matter of fast fingers happening. Yep. So, Iman, never knew about all messages. I didn't know that either until we did a live stream with Creative Pet Keeping, and Kash was like, why is your thing on top chat? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, she's like, the arrow thing, just put it on all so you could see all of them. I'm like,
Really?
oh, there we go. That was back in the day when she was here. So we learned that too. It was pretty crazy. But then and it's funny, once you put the on all messages, you start seeing a bunch of things that you didn't realize were actually going through the chat. You're like, oh, this is way more interesting now. There's all kinds of things going on here.
JT has a fun question.
I love fun questions.
Okay. How many licorice gouramis or sparkling gouramis can be kept together? Do they fight like other gouramis?
So I don't know about keeping them licorice. I don't know about liquid gouramis. I don't know about keeping licorice gouramis and sparkling gouramis together in the same tank. I've never done that. So my guess would be there would be a little bit of conflict depending on the size of the tank. I certainly, if I was going to try to keep them together, I don't know if I would do it in anything less than a 20 long. I would also say, to be on the safe side, we have a lot more experience with the sparkling gourami than we do the licorice gourami. I've only kept licorice gouramis
I
once.
want them bad though.
So, but with the sparkling gourami, once again, if keeping multiples together, I really prefer probably a 20 gallon. I mean, can you do a 10? Yeah, you can keep multiples in 10, especially if you have a pair.
I have them in a bookshelf.
Well,
12 gallon.
Yeah, but that's a complete. Yeah, well, a 12 long is as long as a 40 breeder, so
Yeah.
that doesn't exactly
Gives them
count.
lots of space.
Yeah, well, and the bookshelf tanks are nice because they are so long, and then if you've got structure and plants and rocks and driftwood and stuff, then certainly that could work. But just your standard size tanks, I think to keep multiples, I would prefer a 20 gallon just to give them a little bit of space because sometimes the males can be. I don't think they're overly like crazy mean. But sometimes they're just like, hey man, this is my area. And when you've got that 20 gallon tank, they're less likely to have issues. So that's just my opinion on the matter. Rio says, I have a 10 gallon tank with 1 dwarf gourami, 8 neon tetras, and 5 pygmy koi cats. Is this tank overstocked? I don't know. I probably wouldn't add any more. I personally, as long as you're not having any problems with the dwarf gourami, I'm always hesitant to keep them in anything less than a 20, but if you've had that combination together for a while, I mean, the fish that you have, I can't see him really going out of his way to be a jerk to the neons or the pygmy koris, but...
What kind of neons? In a 10? Does that give them enough space?
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't add any more there, but as long as your dwarf gourami's behaving, that's the biggest thing. And if it's a female dwarf gourami, it's far more likely to behave than if it is a male. But I think I think you're okay.
TB says, my 7-year-old wants me to leave a comment.
All right.
You did. Good
And
job.
there you go.
And there it is.
Yep.
We read your comment.
We saw and recognized your comment. Let's see here. So nice. I have a 29 with a bunch of tiger endlers. Any suggestions for a non-yellow centerpiece fish in a 29? Well, you got the dwarf gourami. That'll work. You've got the
different colors
red honey gouramis, which are far less aggressive and would fit in just fine with your tiger endlers. You have peacock gudgeons, kind of small for a 29, but still a really cool centerpiece fish, I would say. What else do we have in the land of centerpiece fish with endlers? I wonder, I mean, it depends on your water parameters. You might, if you've got water that's on the mostly like towards neutral and not crazy hard or even hard water, you probably get away with a Bolivian ram. Maybe the tiger endlers could be a little small, but they're so fast.
They are very fast.
So it's something I might try. Crebensis would work. Most likely they would leave tiger endlers alone just because of their speed. What else would I try? Possibly a pistogramma, but again, you've got to be a little bit careful with the water parameters because your tiger endlers mostly like harder water with a higher pH, where the rams not so much. Bolivian rams are more tolerant. A pisto's not so much. So it kind of depends on your water parameters, but certainly the honey gourami. The thick-lipped gourami, I think, could be an option in 29. We've got one in a 29 with brilliant green rasboras, and he minds his own business, which is pretty cool.
He does.
Yep.
All right, so Jonathan says, I have an 8-inch bala shark in a 10-gallon with a couple pictus catfish. Should I upgrade to a 20?
Wait, so we got bala shark and pictus?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I would do. I had a bala shark in a 150. It was a 4-foot 150, and I would probably never do that again because bala sharks, there's a few things going on, and the pictus cats too. The bala sharks get huge. They're going to easily get to a foot. I've seen them even larger. They're really, really active fish. They should be kept in groups. If I were going to keep them again, I would keep them in nothing less than probably a 210, preferably an 8-foot tank. I've been to Ohio Fish Rescue, and he's got bala sharks in a large tank, and they look fantastic, and they're in a group. But they're being kept in a very, very, I don't remember what size that tank is. It's got to be at least 8 feet long. Pictus cats are crazy. They're just full of action. They can be a little bit aggressive at times too. Not so much with the bala shark because they're the same energy level. But even the pictus cats, I'd want at least a 4-foot tank for them long term because they're nutcases. They just swim all around. They go crazy, and they really, really need some space. If it were me and I was going to stay with the 10 and the 20 gallon, I'd go back to the pet store and be like, here's your bala sharks, here's your pictus cats. Can I get something a little bit smaller for a 10 or even a 20 gallon? Because those bala sharks, man, they get huge. We had that, and then we had the tinfoil barbs too. In both cases, tinfoil barbs I would never get again unless I had probably an 8-foot tank and keep them in a big group. What you got?
Musical theater experience. I have a 65-gallon with wild angels. I didn't want to chase the pH, but I did add some catappa leaves and alder cones to my tank, and I saw the tannins come through, but the pH never lowered.
Yep, that's very common. There's a lot of confusion about pH and what botanicals are going to do, and that includes driftwood to your fish tank, because you'll see on the internet all the time, if you want to lower pH, add botanicals, add peat moss, add driftwood, and get the tannins going, and that tannic acid is going to lower your pH, and that's only half the equation, because the other half of the equation is what is your carbonate hardness, your KH, because if your carbonate hardness is relatively high, those botanicals aren't going to do anything. I mean, you've done this before, where we've put massive pieces of driftwood in like a 20 gallon, just kind of as a little show thing. It was kind of like this big tree stump in the center of the tank, and trust me, that piece of wood was probably sufficient for a 40 breeder at least, but we stuck it in a 20 high or a standard 20 gallon. And you would have thought that the pH would have come crashing down with how many tannins we had in that tank, the concentration and the size of that wood. pH didn't move. Why? Because our KH is 10 degrees, which is around 180-ish parts per million. So if you've got high KH, the botanicals are probably not going to do anything for pH. The only way, if you truly want to get the pH down, that's why a lot of people add RO water, because the RO water in and of itself doesn't necessarily lower pH all that much, although it's usually going to be slightly acidic just because there's absolutely no buffering capacity. But once you add that RO water and then you start to add the botanicals, because the KH isn't so high, that buffering capacity that keeps your pH stable, you'll start to see the pH come down. But you got to be really careful doing that. I generally recommend people doing that not in their aquarium at first. Try adding RO water to a large tote. Maybe it's a 20-gallon or 27-gallon plastic tote. It's going to cost you $15. You add in, let's say you start with 75% tap and 25% RO. So you're going to do a mix, and you're going to add in your botanicals, and you're going to test it over the course of a week. Okay, well, what did it do to your water? Keeping in mind, even that's not perfect, because the inhabitants of your tank are going to produce waste products, and those waste products will eventually create a more acidic environment if the buffering capacity is lower. It's one of the reasons why people who have a low KH, sometimes, especially if they're not keeping up with their fish tank maintenance, they wind up having pretty unhealthy fluctuations in pH because they go an entire week or maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The fish waste is building up and there's not a lot of KH in there. And so maybe they're like, oh, you know what? My tap water is a pH of 7. But then after a few weeks, it's down to a pH of 6.2 and they're getting a lot of fish loss. So RO water is really, if you've got harder water, it's almost necessary to lower pH just to lower the buffering capacity. But again, do it slowly, be careful, do it in an experimental tote with no fish so that you have some vague idea of like, okay, this is kind of what it's going to be doing. And then I would even cut that in half. And then slowly, I wouldn't necessarily go straight from, oh, I got a 25% RO and that got my pH down to a 6.8. Well, in the aquarium, if you do that, you might actually lower the pH even more. So maybe I'm only doing 10%. You know, when I do that 50% or 30% water change, whatever you're doing, maybe it's going to be, okay, the water that I refill might be a 90 to 10% RO. Probably isn't going to do anything, but then the next week, if it hasn't done anything, I'll go 80-20 with the botanicals already in there. And then maybe it's going to be 75-25 until I start to see a decrease. But then I want to hold it steady and make sure it just doesn't go with fish waste, over the course of a week.
Flood City says the Ohio Fish Rescue Bellagio tank is 1,800 gallons.
Yes, they've got 2 of them back to back. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know there were tinfoil barbs in there. There were albino tinfoil barbs in there. I think I did a video on that particular tank when we were there 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. I thought there were ballast sharks in there too. And yeah, that tank is absolutely massive. There they look good because they are exhibiting non-stressed behaviors because they're in a group. There's not a lot of fish out there that are beating them up, and they can swim at a normal pace and not have to worry about bumping their brains into everything and glass and all that stuff.
Steel Waves wants to know, have you ever tried the dwarf Alto Lamprologus Sumbu shell dweller? I was wondering about their care. Just saw some at my LFS, and they seem super cool.
I haven't kept those.
No.
So if I were going to keep them, I'd probably keep them like any other Lake Tanganyika fish. But if you keep them, I'd love to hear your experience.
Yeah.
Aquascape, any special trick to getting tetras to breed? I don't breed them on purpose for the most part because, for me, it's just more trouble than it's worth. The tricks are you really do with the tetras have to get them a lot closer to their natural water parameters. So for us, because our pH is an 8 to an 8.2 and we've got harder water, it just isn't worth it for me to add the RO. But the trick with tetras, barbs, rasboras is you just need to get them closer to their ideal water parameters. Some people will do a water change to mimic the rainy season. In some cases with tetras, you have to lower the amount of water in the tank, and so you have less water volume, really height. You do want to get, like I said, whatever the pH is going to be, so probably in the 6s, softer water, because and then when they spawn, usually you're going to be using a spawning mop to catch the eggs. Also, adult tetras will pretty much spawn almost every day. And so you can take those spawning mops and you can throw them into a 10-gallon tank, get an air stone in there. Make sure you've got a cycled sponge filter would be even better. And then they'll usually hatch within a day or two depending on the water temperature, but they're so tiny. And that's my biggest problem. And that's why I don't breed them on purpose, because they are so tiny. And for us, it's more trouble than it's worth. But if you just want to do that, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, I love this fish. I love this reservoir. I love this barb. I love this tetra. I love this rainbow fish. I just want to breed them because I like them and I want lots of them for free. You can definitely do that. You just got to get the infusoria or even like the powdered rapashi. Well, they'll eat that sometimes, but it's going to take a while even until they're big enough to eat live baby brine. If you want to know how to breed tetras, I did now I don't remember exactly how I worded that video, but it was either tiger barb breeding or certainly the tiger barb species profile. Dane, who breeds tiger barbs, and you would probably approach it very similar to what he's doing in his video. Towards the end, he shows us his setup for breeding tiger barbs. It'd probably be fairly similar in terms of how you would breed your tetras. I think.
There's
what?
a super chat.
What? Hold on. This thing. Hold on. It's got to freeze. Hold on a second. It's going to freeze. And then it's going to give me all of the comments that I have missed because I was stuck. Oh, this thing is just going to straight up freeze. Oh, we're froze. The whole situation is frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Freeze.
It froze, and now it's unfrozed. That's a word. You can add that to your vocabulary. Here we go. Musical theater experience. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. I didn't see a comment, but I know we answered one question. But if you've got another one, Joanna will look out for it. I appreciate it. Thank you. And then we're scrolling on down now that my thing's not frozen anymore. The chat's not frozen. Let's see here. Kenrick, thank you so much for becoming a prime time partner, primate. Appreciate you being here. We got another giveaway. Desert Fish is here. Thank you for being a member the last 26 months. Wow. Old school right there. Thank you. Just turning in and want to congratulate you on 200,000 prime time is the best. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you being here and being with us for the last 26 months. That's pretty cool. Definitely cool. I want to do another giveaway. Giveaway number 2. And this is one where I believe, if possible, especially if you're going to be making new fish tanks, this is one I think people should have in their fish room. And we've given this away before. This is not a new product. It is what I love to have on the fish room at all times. This is Fritzheim 7. Aquariums maintained by Andy. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. I know that's going to vanish here in a second as soon as we get this bad boy Poof. Up there. But thank you. I really appreciate it. Fritzheim 7. What is it? Fritz Aquatics is a channel sponsor. And one of the things that we ask of our channel sponsors, and it's especially important as we've kind of progressed throughout the years, is we want the channel sponsors to somehow benefit the viewers, even more so than they benefit us, because I think that is really where it counts. And so Fritzheim 7 is live nitrifying bacteria. This stuff is absolutely fantastic because if you want to start a new tank, you can go ahead, start that tank, add Fritzheim 7, which has the live nitrifying bacteria, add a small number of fish. We have used this dozens of times. It has worked every single time we have used it. If you have a temporary small ammonia spike, this can sometimes help as well. They have something else called Fritz Turbo Start, which is even better for that. But this is key. Basically what it's done is it's back in the old days, before products like this were on the market, you just had to go ahead and cycle your tank either without fish, which is the best way to do it, or you'd add fish and then they would have the ammonia spike and then some of them would die, but then they would introduce disease and it would be a real mess. And so this product now, it has made things a lot easier. Laban says, does Fritz work in a low pH setup, 6 pH or lower? There are different, so they don't necessarily give us the species of microbes that they use. I think that's proprietary. So the question is, I haven't used it at that low pH, and I'm not 100% sure. At a 6, most likely, because believe it or not, a lot of the live nitrifying bacteria do better in a slightly acidic pH compared to one that is higher. It's one of the science videos I did that as well. So we talked about that as well. So anyway, Fritzheim 7. Great stuff. I keep this in the refrigerator, and every time we start a new tank, some goes in. Or if we've got a big order coming in and we've got a tank that's been sitting without fish for a few weeks, this stuff or the Turbo Start goes in because I want to try to avoid as much as I can the ammonia spike. So really, really good stuff. Now, again, same rules apply. You got to be in the lower 48 states. You have a number?
I do. How about between 21 and 40?
All right. So hold on. I got to say go. So don't start typing numbers in yet, because the only numbers that are going to count are the numbers after I say ready, set, go. So doesn't count yet. All right, so same thing between 21 and 40. It's the numbers after the go. What is the number? Done? Are we done already? Hold on, we're already done.
Really?
Are we? Is that true?
Really?
Oh, wait, no, hold on.
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah, no, we're definitely done.
We're done?
It's right there.
Okay.
Okay, we're done. You can
And
stop
are we
typing in the numbers already because somebody was much more faster about the situation.
Wow.
So let's see here. Let's just double check. All right, we're going to double check our numbers. Make sure that, actually right here, right? That's the first one.
Oh, you were blocking the number. I'm like, I don't see
Sorry.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Geez, this is why we double check, because there was a winner before the winner. There was a winner before the other person we thought was a winner. So.
Wow, back to back.
Would you? Oh my gosh, that's rough. We're gonna do two. We're gonna do two winners for this one because it was a back to back, like probably literally
rough.
It was like a half a finger millisecond between the two. So don't worry, we've got more than one bottle of this stuff, and there's now two winners for the Fritzheim 7. The number is 27.
27.
The first winner is Mark Sportswear Screen Printing and Embroidery.
From New Jersey, I believe.
And the second winner, which came up right after, was Catherine Thomas. We can't do that to you, Catherine. We can't be like, you are one person away.
We've never had back-to-back.
I don't know if we have or not, but I don't feel like in our celebratory mode that we're in tonight, be like, oh, Catherine, had you been
so close?
Maybe if your fingernails were just slightly longer or something and you could hit the go button faster, you would have been okay. But no, both of you, here's what you're going to do. Mark Sportswear and Catherine Thomas, you're going to send us an email. And you're going to send that email to Primetime Giveaway.
Singular.
Right, Primetime Giveaway, all one word, at yahoo.com. Send us your name and your mailing address, and we'll get each of you out a bottle of Fritzheim 7. Yay. So that you can have that in case you're starting new tanks. And this, like I said, it's good stuff to have on hand, and this stuff doesn't expire until middle of 2024. So you got some time too with that one. So Mark Sportswear, Catherine Thomas, Primetime Giveaway at yahoo.com is the place you want to send your mailing information. And don't worry again, y'all, if you didn't get this one, we have another one. We still have another giveaway to do. So don't you worry. There's still one more chance tonight to get something cool. And the last one that we're going to do, and we're not going to do it just yet, right this second, the last one we're going to do, we've never done this before, and it's part of a bigger situation that we've got going on. We have a situation.
You heard the situation.
This situation is even bigger than Jersey Shore. So, yeah, it's true. You know what's funny is I know that.
I don't know.
And I also know GTL.
Jim Tan Laundry, yeah.
But I actually never watched that show. Honest to goodness, I never watched that show.
Me neither.
And yet I know what GTL is. Does anybody know what GTL is? Are you going to admit it?
I already said it.
No. Oh, you did? You rooted for everybody?
I already said Jim Tan Laundry.
Cool. Not cool at all.
I wanted to get this question. I took a screenshot before.
I almost drank Fritzheim instead of my water. That would have been bad. Would have watched me continue my bad day.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah.
Cut myself with a
and then it
algae scraper, and then I drank Fritzheim 7 live on TV instead of my water.
All right. This is from Billy John Young from the UK. Can you artificially raise a pisto eggs? He was rescaping the tank and didn't realize female laid eggs but have multiple females. One has fry, but the other two don't. So don't know which one laid the eggs.
Yeah, as long as they were fertilized. What I do typically with eggs that are on a surface, and I know some people would be like, oh my gosh, you do what? This is just what I do. It works. I mean, maybe not every single egg survives this process, but typically I've had a bunch of fish. I've had Geophagus do this. The Midas cichlids have done this. Severums is when the eggs are on a surface, especially if they're on a nice flat rock, I will take a dull butter knife, scrape them off into like a turkey baster. And so I squeeze the turkey baster, I put it in the water, and I scrape some eggs off, and I suck them up in the turkey baster. None of this stuff is gentle. I get that. And then I squirt them into an egg tumbler that's already in that tank. So the egg tumbler is a little bit above the water line at first. I squirt them in there, get as many of the eggs as I can, tumble them, and I've had really good success doing that. I'm sure there are some fish where you're like, you're going to basically destroy all your eggs. But like I said, I've done it with a pistos. I've done it with Geophagus. I've done it with Severums. I've done it with a number of larger South and Central American cichlids, and I'm sure I didn't get a 100% success rate doing that, but it's enough where I was pretty happy. Where, look at that, I had 30, 40, 50, or in the case of some large South and Central American cichlids, here's 300. I don't need 350 because what am I going to do with them all? So yeah, it can be done.
Here's a fun question. I have my answer. I'm curious what you're gonna have.
Okay.
This is from Valerie. Any suggestions for removing green algae on the glass that odos, snails, and algae scrapers without a blade won't take care of?
Yeah, razor blades.
Without a blade.
What's that?
And algae scrapers without a blade.
Well, yeah, the algae scrapers to me, like especially like the magnetic ones and stuff, they don't do a good job of that really hard, crusty green algae. The only thing for us that will take that off is, and I did that video with the razor blade with the handle, and especially for taller tanks, 20 gallons, 29s, 55s, nothing can withstand, no algae has ever withstood a razor blade. And there's some really, really hard, scrapey algae, that green stuff, and then some of the red algae is really hard to get off. Even a lot of the store-bought algae scrapers to me are not the best, right? You did a video on, I think, was it your channel?
I haven't told you yet what I would say.
Oh, I'm sorry, please.
Thank you.
Pardon me.
Thank you. And I never use the handle, just even with larger tanks. I use just the razor blade because I have more control. Anyways, plastic razor blades.
Yeah.
Codace Hardware, they have them. They're great. They obviously do not work as well or quickly as razor blades, but you don't have nearly the danger of scraping your tank.
Yeah. And the video I did with the extended handle that came with, you have an option to buy that with like the orange plastic razor blades. The thing I do like about that handle is for taller tanks, you do get a little bit of leverage, right?
Whatever.
So some of the commercial algae scrapers, if you scrape and use a little bit of elbow grease, the thing just like snaps on you. And it's like, well, this was not worth it at all. Pistachio, I want to switch from gravel to sand without doing 100% water change, losing my beneficial bacteria. What's the best way to do it? Sorry if you answered it already. Haven't answered it already. To me, there's really no way around it. When I'm doing a substrate change, I consider it a complete tank breakdown, because you're going to stir up all kinds of stuff, especially if you've got gravel in there to begin with. Anytime you're moving rocks or wood or real plants, fake plants, you're going to get so much stuff stirred up. And then what do? If you leave the fish in there, they're going to be in really bad shape. The beneficial bacteria is not in your water. It's connected to the surfaces. And so as long as if you can take out all your decorations, you can keep your filter. Maybe what we do is I use a tote. So I'll use like a 27-gallon black tote. I will remove the decorations, the rocks, the wood. And if I've got to use multiple totes, I will. If it's a hang-on back filter or sponge filters, they go in the totes so that they're still moving air, they're still moving water, they're getting oxygen. And so you're not losing your beneficial bacteria in your filter media, because all your decorations are in there and they're still part of that water flow. They're not losing their beneficial bacteria. The beneficial bacteria that you're going to lose is any that was on the surface of your substrate, because it's not going to grow deep down because there's not enough oxygen there anyway, and possibly some beneficial bacteria on surfaces of the tank glass that you haven't scraped, right? So the vast majority is still, most of it's still going to be there. But I would break it down. I would get the fish out. It's going to be far less stressful for them, because one of the most stressful things you can do to fish is try to get substrate out.
Oh, it's the worst.
While stirring up all that stuff. And then you don't even know at that point. Trust me, the tank will be just straight up thick brown. You won't know if you're scraping up substrate along with half your fish. And then what do you do when you put the other stuff down? You're still going to have all that gunk in there as well. So just trust me. It's easier just to use some totes and break it down.
Salonis, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, or Salonis, plastic razor blades won't gash your leg either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true, because it did fall from about 4 feet up.
Yeah, but they're so light that they would just kind of like...
But it wasn't...
They would go...
It was the handle that provided the weight. It wasn't the blade itself.
It was like a...
big, thick handle. Otherwise, if a razor blade just falls off, it's not going to do anything to you.
Well, it could.
Mary Berry, are you saying totes for 5-gallon buckets or different buckets? I use totes. I use 27-gallon. I mean, if you only got a 10-gallon, you probably don't need a 27-gallon tote. But I get the big black totes with they're hard plastic with the hard plastic yellow lids. They're at Home Depot. They're at Lowe's. You can find them on Amazon, but they are kind of costly to ship because they're just so bulky. And I use those. Now they're probably, I don't remember how much they are, maybe like $15. And if you got a bigger tank, use more of them. If you got a smaller tank, use less.
Or just a bucket. If you have,
you can use a bucket, sure. But the only problem with a bucket is it's curved, and if you've got a hang-on back filter, it's not going to sit on there. So that's the problem. Desert Fish gifted 5 Primetime Aquatics memberships. Thank you. That's really nice of you.
That's cool.
Desert Fish knows. Been around for a long time. Hooked up. JK Fish Keeping. Echo Delta. Very cool. Tracy. Lady. And Frockopotamus. And Mary Berry's here. Big Totes. Love it. Yeah. So that's how I roll with it. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Snow. Any thoughts on hexagon tanks and leak risk? Gotta reseal an 18-gallon hex. Not sure even what to stock it with other than Jungle Val. I love hexagon tanks. I had a 35-gallon hex for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I put all kinds of fish in there I probably shouldn't have put in there, but that was pre-internet, and you just kind of go with whatever the pet store people would tell you. And I was young, so I'm just going to throw a bunch of excuses out there, and you're just going to have to live with it. But no, I do love the hexagon tank. 18 gallons a good size. What to put in there? Stuff that's going to use the entire vertical surface. So you could do like Heteroandra formosa, fleur-de-lis killifish, and some Neocaridina shrimp. That's a pretty cool combination, and they'll use the entire tank. You could do 18-gallon hex. You could do something small and schooly like Mira rasboras, dwarf rasboras, chili rasboras. You could easily put 8, 10, 12 in there, and they'll just kind of do one of these circle things. They don't need a ton of space. Endlers like to go all zippy up and down and all around. Honey grammies would definitely use that. I'm thinking about the 15-gallon column tank. That worked out pretty well.
Did you say embers?
I said endlers.
How about embers?
Embers would probably work. Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yep.
They did okay in our 15.
So can we get to freshwater aquatics? What does the membership do? It changes your life in ways that you will never even imagine. It's truly the most important thing you will do in your life. Okay, well, in reality, what the memberships do a few things. Thing number 1 is members get an extra video every week that goes out to the members, and it's usually more of a vlog style. They get to see a lot more behind the scenes stuff. We talk a lot more about the weekly and daily fish room happenings. I have brought in literally, since the last fish room tour last summer, probably 10,000 fish, maybe more. Members have seen almost all of them. So they get to see what's coming in, what's going out, learn a little bit about those fish. So there's that. And then members, usually if there's something new going on, they usually know about it because they're in the weekly vlogs and we talk about things. They do, if they want to, they have a little bit of a role in what we do on Primetime Aquatics. I'll usually ask them for their opinions. What do you want to see? What's important to you these days? And so we do that as well. So we've got a lot of members here that have been members for multiple years, which is pretty cool. I mean, you see them every once in a while popping up. Hey, 26 months, 24 months. So hopefully people think it's worthwhile. So that's some of the things that we do. There's going to be more. I think in 2023, there's some things that I would like to do in addition to what we're already doing that I think would be pretty awesome. A lot of stuff like when we're traveling and we're doing stuff, they get some behind the scenes stuff there, whether it's pictures or updates and that kind of thing as well. So can we get to the...
Yeah, but can I read a funny comment first?
Sure.
Oh, and Rio, no, we have never kept axolotls. To answer your question,
we don't have a space cold enough. The big thing with axolotls that a lot of people don't understand is they would love to be at least in the 60s, maybe 50s.
Oh, so would I sometimes.
There's no place in our house that would ever get close because we run our house at 78 degrees, the entire house, to keep the basement at 81, 82, which makes the tank water in the upper 70s in most parts of the basement.
And MTS, by the way, said he's got square buckets.
There you go. Square buckets will work.
Okay, so this is a funny comment. Chris says, I was thinking about growing an epic beard just like you. Any recommendations on cycling my beard, and what kind of filtration should I get to keep it looking clean and fresh like yours?
You know, have you ever heard people say, like the hair people that do the hair stuff, like they don't actually use any of the products that they... Now, I've never actually promoted any products for beards, but nor do I think I'm worthy of doing such a thing. But a lot of people you hear, like, they just wash their hair and they wake up and they're just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't use anything. I don't use any beard oils. I don't do anything special. The water gets on it. When I take a shower, it's not like I'm in there doing some kind of special lather. This is all real. This color mess that you see here, some people have accused me of dyeing my sides gray or dyeing this part, whatever color this is.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
But I don't do anything. I don't do anything special. I just kind of wake up in the morning and go like this. And every once in a while, I'll take a comb and make sure there's no stragglers or anything like that. And I have gotten really good at using an electric trimmer. And I can just kind of make sure that it's all relatively even after years of doing it. So
it's good to know.
That's all I do.
And before I forget, we have some birthday wishes.
Okay.
From our very own Noelle Brucker.
Nice.
Now, she says that my future daughter-in-law, newly engaged, is the best and is taking me fish shopping tomorrow for my birthday. Decisions, shrimp, hardscape, or new centerpiece fish. Oh my gosh, what a great decision and reason not to sleep tonight.
All of the above.
Right?
All of the above.
Some of that.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Noelle.
Midwest asks, have you guys ever done a dry start on a new planted tank? Not that I can recall. No. It's really not necessary. I don't think, for the most part.
A dry start?
Yeah.
Do you even know what that is?
Yeah.
Do you?
Isn't that when you plant the plants and then you don't fill the tank up completely?
Very good, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it done. But yeah, we just haven't done it. And some of the stuff we want to get the fish in the plants in, because if they've already been grown out of water, they need to melt back and do all the stuff that they do. All right, so this last thing that we're giving away is actually part of a kind of a cool thing that's happened over the last couple weeks. So as most of you know, and we did a video or a live stream about this not that long ago, traditionally we've had two partners that have partnered with us over the years. Now it's been Flip Aquatics and Fritz Aquatics. And I did an entire live stream. You can go back. It was about a month or two ago, where we talked about what it means to have someone come alongside Primetime Aquatics and what they need to be. And so they need to provide excellent customer service. They need to have a great track record of dealing with people. The products that they sell and what they promote or what they manufacture need to do what they say they're going to do. And if something ever goes wrong, they need to stand behind those products. For both Fritz and Flip Aquatics, we've known them for a long time. Rob and Amanda, we've gotten to know over the years. Sean Hale from Fritz Aquatics. I know what they're about, and I know how much time they invest in the hobby personally and then through their businesses. Fritz Aquatics, they support the hobby through all their sponsorships, and it's not just us. There's a lot of creators out there. They do a lot for the shows and things like that really bring, I think, a lot of people a lot of enjoyment. So with that background, I've been talking with another company over the last couple weeks, because this is something that when we get it, both of us are like fighting over it. And it's always been that way. And it's been that way for years and years. And I've talked about this thing before, and I think it's like one of the best kept secrets in fish keeping that most people maybe they've heard of, but probably haven't fully appreciated. And I want to help change that, I think. And at the same time, I want to provide value to us. Remember, one of the things that I've said is when it comes to forming these partnerships, they have to benefit our viewers. It can't just be benefiting us. Otherwise, I don't know much of a point to that. So, and that's why, thank you for that. We have now partnered with, are you ready? I think this is really cool, right?
Super cool.
Amazonas Magazine. So I don't know how many of you have ever read Amazonas, have ever heard of Amazonas Magazine. These come out, I know there's a glare, so let me try to do something so that you can actually see the cover. This is the one that just came out. This, if you've never read this magazine or ever looked at it, this is not only the highest quality fish publication that is out, I think, just period. It is probably one of the highest quality publications of any genre, of any magazine that we've ever gotten.
It's yummy.
I mean, it's basically, yummy. For those of you who are familiar with like National Geographic, they always talk about the award-winning photography and the write-ups and all that stuff that they do and the articles and the high quality. Well, this is that and so much more. And so what we've done is we've partnered with Amazonas. I've been working with them over the last couple weeks to try to come up with a way that would bring more exposure to that magazine, because ultimately what I love about it, and you can pipe in yourself, is again quality. I mean, if you look at this, I was in printing, so most of you might not know this. I was actually in printing for 10 years before I got into teaching, and I was a commercial print estimator. And I'm looking at this magazine every time we get it, and I'm looking at this high quality gloss. I'm looking at the high quality print. As you go through this magazine, like the pages, it's rare if you subscribe to magazines and you look at these pictures and you look at the gloss print and you look at how thick all the pages are. And oh, by the way, most of you know who have subscribed to magazines, it's getting to the point where like most of the magazine is like just advertisements. You're like, why am I paying for you to send me something in the mail that's nothing but advertisements? That's not Amazonas. They have, in the face of all these rising costs, they've always kept really high quality print. They keep the advertising to a reasonable level. So when you get a magazine that is literally this thick, you're going to spend some time reading it. You're not going to blow through this magazine in like an hour or two. I'm like, okay, I read everything. That was great. This is one of these things where you're going to want to sit down and you're going to want to actually take your time and relax and read it, because it is that good. You know, and again, you see these pictures, they don't mess around, man. I mean, these pictures of the fish that they have are absolutely outstanding. Especially as someone who does video, you know, so much of the video that we do is, you can see it, and I'm looking at these pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh. And yes, Steelwaves, you can get the digital version as well with this, which is also pretty cool.
Sweet.
Do you have anything you want to add? Because I got a bunch more I want to say.
Well, I know whenever I would look at it, I always look for like the pictures and all the articles about different biotopes. Where did these fish come from? And I can't tell you how many times I've seen fish that I've never seen before. You get to see them in their natural element. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. And for those of you who have read Amazonas, I think one of the reasons why I love it is there are very few magazines that will give you just incredible coverage of just different types of fish. They usually have a theme. This theme was extra large West African cichlids. I remember the one they did on rasboras, or on barbs, or tetras, and you're looking at this stuff and you're like, okay, not only am I learning about this wide variety of these fish, half of them I'm still, usually I look through these magazines and the first 4, 5, 6 fish I see, I'm like, I've never kept these, and I maybe have heard of just a few of them. Like there's always at least a handful of fish where I'm like, I didn't know these existed. That is what makes it so absolutely incredible. But not only that, they have managed to do something that, from my science background, is extremely hard to do. They've somehow managed, over time, to write articles that have a scientific foundation, but is completely accessible to the vast majority of people who are going to read it. And so you wind up going through these articles and you feel like, wow, not only am I super interested in this fish because it's freaking awesome, and now I got to go try to find this thing because I need these in my life, but they talk about it in a way that actually makes you just feel smarter. And that's what's so cool about it. It's like, wow, you know what? I read this fish, I understood it, I'm super interested in it, and I think I know more about this fish than it's just, okay, well, you keep it in this pH and you keep it in this size tank. They go well beyond that, and they'll talk about some of the science, but they'll do it in a way where when you finish the article, you're just not like, all right, I'm thoroughly confused, and I just read a 10-page article and I didn't understand 8 pages of it, like you were reading the journal Science or something like that. They don't do that. They have managed to blend those things, and they do it every issue, and they've done it for years and years and years. And I've got a science background, so it definitely fills my niche.
Right here.
You don't.
No, I do not.
And
I
yet,
don't.
when you read it, because she steals it from me every single time.
Yes.
It's still something where you can be like, yeah, I understood it. I understood everything. And they take a lot of pride in doing that. And I talked to Stefan Tanner, who basically, this is, him and a couple other people, this is their show. And I talked to them for a long time about their outlook on fish and why they do what they do. And it is a labor of love for them. They love doing what they do. And
you can tell.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell just by how it's presented.
And it's a bi-monthly publication, correct?
Yeah, so subscriptions you get 6 of them. You get 6 of them a year. And one of the things that we have done is, let me go ahead and put this, I'm going to put it in the chat, and it's also in the description of the video, is we've worked out a promotion. And so it's just gone through there. You can click on that and you get a percentage off. And so we were able to do that. And it's something I'm really excited about, because I think, trust me, if you are into fish and you like learning about fish, I'm telling you right now, I don't think I've ever run across a person who's like, yeah, I read Amazonas, I didn't like it. I've never heard anybody say that. No. Usually they're just like, oh my gosh, I can tell you, this is the only magazine that I subscribe to, where it's like, if this runs out, I have to renew it. Some of you know what I'm talking about. It's like, all right, you subscribe to a magazine, you get it every month or 2 months or 3 months, and it runs out, and you're just like, oh, whatever. We let this lapse for a little while, and I was like, where's our Amazonas?
Yeah, that was horrible.
And that's the thing, too. They don't bombard you with, like, how some magazines do. It's like 2 years before your subscription's up. Like, your subscription is about to run out. Renew immediately. And you're like, I thought I just renewed for like 18 years, like 2 years ago. They don't do that. And the one time it ran out, I'm like, we got to fix that situation and fix it quick. So we're really excited about that. And again, we put the link in there. The link is also in the description. You'll get a discount, and just really happy to have them as a partner. And the other thing that's going to happen too is we've been talking about possibly other collaborations and other opportunities. We might bring some people on the channel that have their own unique perspective, and it's going to be just a really cool thing, I think, as we move forward. So like I said, 1 year subscription gets you 6 wonderful episodes, magazines, in the year. So it's the promotion for a single issue or a year. It's for the year. So if you click on that, you'll see it just takes you right there, and it is for the entire year. And so we'll be working with them for 2023. Super excited about it. They're absolutely outstanding people. And I think they fit in nicely to the small group that we have here of people who are 100% dedicated to high quality and to fish keeping, because, yeah, it's really cool.
And it just looks really great on the table. I mean, really
Makes
great.
you look smart and sophisticated when you've got a few lined up. Because this is the only magazine, I can tell you right now, this is the only magazine in our home that we subscribe to where we keep all the back issues. Like we have...
And Victoria. Speak for them.
We don't.
Between those two,
throw those away.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
I would dig them out.
But no, this is, if you were to look at our bookshelf, they're lined up, because it's also a reference. If you want to learn about, like, oh my gosh, I remember that one time I was, it was the Rasboras. When you had first learned about the blue neon Rasbora, you went back to that a couple times because that was in there, and you're like, all right, I got to go back and review because I really want those fish, because they usually are presenting fish that some of them are not widely available in the hobby yet. So they're really on the front lines of, hey, there's this new fish out there, and they've been working with it, and they'll have the people who are, the nice thing is the articles often are written by people who are actually in the mud, in the water, keeping these fish and telling you their first impressions and what they're learning. So it's truly awesome. Okay,
now
so
what's the giveaway?
Now the giveaway is this magazine. This is the current one right here. This is the current issue, and our hope is as we go through the year, we're going to get lots more of these for you. So not only do we have the code in there for you guys, the link, we also have this particular issue is going out to one lucky winner. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to do this frequently because it's going to be cool. We're just going to go, all right, so you ready? We're going same, all the same rules apply. Got to be in the lower 48. And we are going to be doing numbers 41 through 60. So 41 through 60. 41 through 60. So all you doing the little numbers, got to get up there. 41 through 60. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Oh, done. Wait, hold on a second.
I can't.
Hold on. Hold on. There we go. So
okay.
Let's just double check. You can stop typing now because we've definitely got a winner here for sure. Oh, there's another one. Okay. So hold on. We're still scrolling up. I've already seen 2 of the numbers. And let me just make sure because I think we're getting close to the top. Okay. All right. So let's just make doubly sure that we've got the number here because I don't want to mess this up because we only have one copy of this bad boy. Okay, so we agree?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the lucky number was 50. 50. Jasmine, you're the winner. You were the first person to type in 5050. So Jasmine, just like the other two earlier, you're going to provide us with your full name and address. You're going to go to Primetime Giveaway.
Singular. Primetime
Giveaway at yahoo.com. Give us your name, your address, and we will get this in the mail for you so you can enjoy it too. And the plan is, as we go throughout the year, we're going to have more of these for you. If you're really interested in it, like I said, check out that code or check out the link because it is going to be a good thing, I think. And like I said, I've never, ever in my life heard someone say, yeah, that wasn't worth it, because to me, it's like paper gold.
It is. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Whip, we can never pick 47, ever.
Yeah, 47 is going to have to be until we do. We'll pick it when we do. And we'll be like, that'll be the one day where it's like 46. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty cool. Again, if you had questions before the whole number thing happened, type them in again because they're long since lost, unfortunately.
And then what about the link? The link is zoom in on by. Yeah, but that's like way.
I'll put it right back in there.
Okay.
Hold on. So there it is again. There's the link.
Are you going to put it in the description?
It's in the description.
Oh, okay. I know.
She only did it once, though. She only didn't listen once.
You really think so? I have a feeling I didn't listen more than once.
Truth be told, you want to tell everybody where we went for Valentine's Day last night? Our date? We should have posted on Facebook. Isn't it fun on Facebook? They just get inundated with everybody's like, I love you, Valentine's. I generally don't do that, but because you're not on Facebook.
No.
So I
would
can't
never
tag
see
you
it.
on it. I love you and then tag you on it and just be like.
I don't know who you tag. It wouldn't be me because I ain't there.
Well, that's just what I'm saying.
We went to a Harley meeting.
Yeah, we went to a hog meeting. That was our.
Because it was the second Tuesday.
Yep. Mm-hmm. How cool is that? And there were actually a fair number of people there who all had the same idea. And then we got milkshakes.
You got a milkshake. You got a
Diet Coke.
I did.
I got a milkshake. And
it was party
mistake.
Time. It was
because then I had and truth be told, we went to Portillo's, and I was only going to get a milkshake, but I also got a hot dog with everything. And it was right before bed, and then I got the meat sweats. So it probably wasn't a great idea since I already had dinner.
Oh, Steel Wave says my husband got me an Amazonas subscription for Valentine's Day last year.
That's cool.
That's really an amazing present.
Yep. Very cool.
Jay Fuller says, how about 42? Know the reference?
42. Well, isn't that Jackie Robinson? Is that his number?
I don't know. What's
other than that, I don't know.
What's Patrick Mahomes' number? I don't know. Just because he's winning. He's a double VP.
Now she's a football expert.
No. Well,
so Patrick Mahomes, and who else do you know from the Chiefs? Just out of curiosity.
That's it.
How about the Eagles?
No.
She throws it out there like she's all.
No, I'm just wondering because that would be very pertinent since he's like the winning.
Noel says the answer to life, the universe, and everything equals 42. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm going to remember that one.
Yep. So that must be from a movie.
Say Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, she could have said that and then she would have gotten it right for both. But she didn't. And you knew about the brothers in the Super Bowl. You just didn't know their name. That's okay.
Kelsey.
I actually didn't mind if you want to veer off. I didn't mind the Super Bowl. I'm
not
into either one of the teams. So if you're a fan, that's great. I don't dislike the teams. I'm indifferent to them. So I was just looking for a good game. I thought it was really great until that last call, the holding call. I'm not feeling strongly about it. If it were me and I were a ref, given the way I thought they did a good job all game, I probably wouldn't have made that call. I don't know if it would have made a big outcome to the game, but I just would have let the players play at that point.
Cheryl's here. Everybody say, hey,
What's
Cheryl.
Up?
You're late. No, welcome.
Lynn's hanging out.
No, I need to know, though. What's everybody's thoughts? Best Super Bowl halftime show over the years.
Oh, you're going to get them going on that?
Yeah, it's part of the show. I have my top two
How
guesses.
Many people even remember the halftime shows? I don't know. I couldn't tell you about a halftime show, and other than the one we just saw the other night.
Prince. Okay, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I figured that would be the most popular one.
Oh, Prince is getting a lot of votes. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna tell you my two votes. I really liked Coldplay, Bruno Mars, and Beyonce when they did the trio. That was pretty cool. It was very, very Yep. And then when Bruno Mars did the whole show by himself, it was pretty cool. There you go.
Emily says, have you ever experienced sudden swim bladder disorder in a previously healthy fish after netting and putting fish into another aquarium, maybe swallowing air while out of water? I don't think I've ever seen that. Or at least I haven't experienced it. So I don't know what would I do if that were the case. I don't even know. If it's trapped air and not some kind of a bacterial thing, then it's a swim bladder thing. I suppose you just make sure it's upright. I don't know if anybody else it's just not something I've done. I've seen people try to release the air. I'm not one to really want to recommend that, especially if you're not experienced doing that. Okay,
Alex
see.
is here.
What's up?
Hey, Alex.
These Aquatics. Is that secret history living in your aquarium?
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
He's here.
Whatever Alex said, Deez said the same.
Thank you for that.
Hold on. Let's. I saw a question that I was wanting to answer, and then I lost the question that I wanted to answer. Mary says, first time to Cordor's egg laying, late Saturday, early Sunday a.m. Discarded white ones, kept yellowish ones. Today they are gray colored. Think they'll hatch. If they're not fungused up, I might hang on to them a little bit. As soon as they start to fungus, then nope. But did you leave them on the side of the glass? Are they in an egg tumbler? So just if they're in an egg tumbler, be careful. You got to really get rid of those fungusy ones if they start to fungus. But they should be hatching relatively soon. They don't take a super long time to hatch. All right, John says, I have a 40-gallon breeder that I am dying to set up. I would love to do an all Mbuna tank. What are your thoughts on this? In a 40-gallon breeder, you can do Mbuna. You just got to be really careful with the fish that you put in that 40 breeder because it's not necessarily ideal, but it can work. So 40-gallon breeder Mbuna that I have kept, Pseudotrophia solosi, I just kept them as a single species that worked out fine. And even my male-female ratios were all messed up. I think I had at one point maybe like 8 males and 4 females. So that is far from ideal, but they always got along, and I've got them in a 55 now. It's still totally jacked up male-female ratios. They're fine. Rusty cichlids could work. Yellow labs could work. So those are the 3 that I find to be less aggressive, and if you wanted to try to keep those together, you could do that. Obviously, with a tank like that, it would be best if you're going to mix males and females, which is probably going to happen unless you get full-grown adults. You're usually going to buy them pretty young. You might want to just have 1 male per species and then 3 or 4 females. And so I don't know if I've ever maxed out at more than about 12 full-grown Mbuna of again, lesser aggressive varieties in a 40 breeder. It worked. Some people have had worse luck. I mean, I would definitely stay away from like the Johannis. The red zebras, especially the females, can be fine in a tank like that. Sometimes the males, they get a little bit too, especially around breeding, they might get a little bit too rough. The ACI are good temperament-wise, but they just get way too big for a 40 breeder, so I'd stay away from those. Stay away from all the the Aratus types. Bumblebee cichlids are really common at Petco, PetSmart. Don't put those in a 40 breeder, especially the males. They get really nasty. What else? Demasoni, I would never put in a 40 breeder. They'll probably kill everything and then start wiping out each other. So, what you got?
All right, so let's see. Oinkmaster, she said, the best part of the Sunday's halftime show was the moving platforms. I would pay to do that. I would have a heart attack.
You're crazy.
I would have a heart attack.
She definitely would.
I would. I don't do heights and any of those platforms. It was a pretty cool look and everything. You know what? I don't know how Rihanna was singing "Shine Bright Like a Diamond" up there. Can you imagine?
Well, half the time she wasn't.
No,
I don't blame her.
She did freaking out. When she was doing like in the air stuff, she was lip syncing, but not the whole performance like the other time she was actually singing. But
either way.
I wouldn't survive it.
I mean, and that was like way up there too.
Oh my gosh, that was not cool.
Lolo says, any info on Mycobacterium marinum? Lost a Grammy today because I came home to the fish irregularly swimming, bloated eye on one side, lost color, and the smoking gun. Its spine was all crooked. If that's the case, if you have mycobacterium in that tank, you're probably going to wind up losing any other fish in that tank, because it's more, I think we talked about this last week, but it's more or less untreatable. And it's, yeah, you almost have to assume that the other fish have been exposed. So that's a big problem. Anything that has gone into that tank, any gravel vacs, any nets, I would be very, very careful with that. I would not put that equipment into any other tank to, if you've got multiple fish tanks. But most likely, if that's what it is, and you start to see other fish exhibit those signs, you're probably, if they've all been exposed, if that's indeed what it was, it's not treatable. In fact, I had a really good conversation with Bob, who is in our GCCA. He sent me an email after talking about it was last week or the week before, and he talked about the treatment protocols in human beings and how it takes so long to treat. And he said, okay, well, here's the medications. And he read somewhere in a guppy forum, you could potentially try to treat the fish with the antibiotic cocktail, but it would still take many months. And most of the time it's ineffective. And he said, at what point do you make the decision where treatment is not a reasonable option? And I would say with mycobacterium, that is where I would draw the line. Unfortunately, I wouldn't even bother trying to treat fish with mycobacterium. Even if you're getting the antibiotics into the organism, especially human beings, you're still looking at 6 to 9 month treatment. And the protocol that he read was 9 months to a year. And at that point, most likely you're just building up tremendous amounts of antibiotic resistance in that tank for those particular drugs, for other microbes to become antibiotic resistant, and it's usually not effective, unfortunately.
All right, I have a question from Secret Alex. So I've rid myself of the blue lip buffalo-head cichlids that were extremely mean. So now what can I put with a few geos? Any good community tank mates?
What size tank?
What size tank, Alex?
I've kept electric blue acara with geophagus before. That worked out fine. Yeah, the buffalo heads they can be kind of butts, especially when they start breeding. And they're all at the bottom, and they stay at the bottom. And once they get their area, I could definitely see them putting a whooping on geophagus. But I've kept geos with angelfish. I've kept them with electric blue acara. I've kept them with rainbow fish. I've kept them. You could keep them with like the Cryptoheros sahicas,
55.
the Nanoluteus.
It's 55.
Yep. So all of those would work just fine. They do work with severums, but I wouldn't put severums in a 55 necessarily. I think they would probably be better off in a 75 or larger. You've got all your schooling fish with the geophagus, so bigger than neons, most likely. Like your Congo tetras. I like the brilliant green rasbora with geophagus. I think that's pretty cool. What else? The filamentosas barb is pretty cool. I'm trying to think of other fish that I would keep with them. The rummy nose rasboras, full grown, would probably work just fine. That's a really cool fish that we've been working with a lot lately. Like I said, your bleeding heart tetras, your serpes, those are going to work just fine. Yeah, so some options.
Fun.
Mary Berry says, what order of steps do you advise transferring most everything to a bigger tank to upgrade? I did this event recently and it took hours. There has to be a better way. It can take a long time because what you're doing probably two things. You're setting up a new tank and breaking down the old one. So it does take a while. In terms of the order, I like to, in the new tank, just set it up as though I was just setting up that tank. And that would be, I want to get all the hardscape in. I'd like to get the water in. I want to get the filter running. If the filter's coming from the old tank, I will usually put that on the new one, add in my Fritzyme. It's nice when you're adding in some of the old decorations so you can get that beneficial bacteria on those surface areas. If it's planted, that stuff's all going in. Getting the old stuff out of the old tank, and then, that's the easiest way to catch the fish, right? A lot of people want to resist that, especially if they're going to reuse the old tank, and that is try to leave all the stuff in there and kind of work around it. The hardscaping, to me, that all comes out. If there are live plants, maybe I'm not ripping that out, especially if I want to reuse those and keep the old tank the way it was. But all the rocks, all the wood, all the caves, the plastic things, that all comes out. The big trick there to catching fish, if the old fish are going in the new, larger tank, is drain that water down. Make it easy on yourself. Drain that water down. So if you've got a 4-inch net, you've only got 4 or 5 inches of water. And we're always like two nets. And so you're using one net and you don't have to stress them out. You're using one net to kind of coax them to one side of the tank and you're just scooping them out and in the new one they go. And then I will fully drain the old tank if I'm not reusing it or refill it and just call it a big old giant gravel vac water change on the old one. And hopefully I haven't stressed anybody out too much in the process, any of the fish doing that. So that's generally how we roll with it.
Squad Captain 4. Do you know of any lights that have the functions of the Fluval 3.0 and the shimmering effect? No.
So, all right, so hold on. The shimmering effect, I did a short on this, and a lot of people brought up a good point, and it was a good point. It was a very valid point because I made the point that the expensive lights, the Kessel lights, they have a really nice shimmering effect, and they do, and it is better than any other light out there. However, some people made a valid point, and that is, well, you can still get a shimmering effect if you raise the light high enough above the surface of the tank, which is true and it is valid, and you've got some surface agitation there. So if you've got something that's making bubbles, or you've got a hang on back filter or a wave maker that's kind of doing that.
Even my little tank,
my 5 gallon does that. But part of that is because the light is extended a little bit above the surface, so you don't necessarily need a really expensive light to get the shimmering effect. In terms of the other features, that can be a little bit tough. To me, the only features that I find super useful on the Fluval are the same features I find super useful on the far less expensive lights, and that is the ability to adjust the intensity and the ability to adjust the spectrum. Now, Fluval, because they are a higher end light, you get a lot more options when it comes to adjusting the spectrum of light. Where with some of the cheaper lights like the Hygers and the Night Crews, you could, in theory, suspend those high enough above the surface, put a wave maker in, get some shimmering at a very cost-conscious price point. You would still have the ability to adjust the intensity of the light. You would still have the ability in a very small way to adjust the light spectrum, but it's not going to be like the Fluval. And some of these lights are not going to give you the 24-hour cycle, although that's not something I use. All of my lights are on external timers. They come on at a certain time, they go off at a certain time. So I don't use that 24-hour feature. I don't use like the lightning thing. To me, that would probably stress fish out than, more than it's worth. But you could consider things if you want to go lower end in terms of price, the Night Crews, the Hygers, the Finnick Stingray, to get that light above the surface area, get a wave maker, and you'll still get some shimmering. But you won't get some of those other features. What?
I'm listening to you talk and watching you like a couple seconds behind. It's pretty funny. It was funny.
Well, I am glad I am part of your humorous thing. A squad cap.
Oh my gosh.
Is a great idea. What?
I know, Chris. Chris here, excellent point. If all of you are into it, I love to see Alex as a visiting guest some Wednesday. So
Alex is an open invitation.
Pretty
Anytime
much.
he is in town,
Alex,
and I'm trying to get him to speak at some of our
here.
clubs. If he can get in town on a Wednesday before a club talk, Alex, you've got an open invitation to come hang out with us on a live stream anytime you're in town, for sure.
Yeah. When we saw him, we met him at AGA this past year.
Good guy.
I fangirled.
She did.
I sure did.
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, it's Alex. Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It was cool because he was out and about.
He was. It's real people.
Alex says at prime time, kept Geophagus Wymiloi growouts with a mated pair of electric blue cars when they were just on the market, 2014 onwards. That's cool. Yeah, I think they get along pretty well. Matthew, will plant leaves melting off raise ammonia? Should I trim them and take them out of the tank? It depends on the size of the tank. It depends on how much plant leaf melting you're getting. But if it's a fully cycled tank, and it's a fairly large volume, I mean, you should remove it just because it's probably not serving a whole lot of purpose being there. But will it cause an ammonia spike? If the tank has been cycled and is seasoned for a long time, probably not. I think you'd have a much bigger problem if you had like dead fish in there than you would a plant leaves dying off. But I would still just get rid of them. The dead plant leaves, that is. CJ says, my aquariums have good surface area agitation. My Hyger light gives shimmer.
That's Jay.
I said Jay.
No, you didn't.
I literally said Jay says.
I thought you said something else. I thought you said CJ or something. Never mind.
You see what I have to deal with sometimes?
I warned you.
She hears things.
I was a little tired today, so there's a little bit of a delay up here.
That's okay. I'm really tired too, so I forgiveth you. Mike says, I saw the Herpes
Thank you.
Bart and I on the GCCA auction list. I've never even seen those before. Going to try and grab them. Any experience with them? Have I kept those before? I don't think so. But there was another species that was the Bart and I that I thought was I don't think it's the same one that you're referencing. There was one that was a Lake Victorian that I had. I don't think it's the same one. I don't remember the genus now. It's been a long time. Probably not the same one, but hey, the GCCA, yeah, they got their rare fish auction on the 19th, which is this Sunday evening. If you are a member, it's a members only rare fish auction, but they bring in some cool stuff, and they've got probably well north of 100 bags, so it's pretty cool. All right, oh my gosh, we'll take a couple more questions. It's getting late. I did not realize that it was already 9:35.
Really?
We're gonna have a record here.
No kidding. Yeah. Charles agreed. You said CJ. Thank you, Charles.
I didn't. I said.
He did.
Jay says.
Charles Vaughn II said, you definitely said CJ because I looked up from my tank. LOL. LOL to you, sir.
All right. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, all right?
Do it on the replay.
I will agree to disagree
on
the
replay crew.
I will pretend to say
Let
whatever.
them know.
Yeah, see, I said that. Leslie says, I think he said C, like he's C, and then I said J. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mary Berry, do you have any fish-related tattoos? Nope, I haven't gotten a new one in probably
forever.
15, 20 years. Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. Louis says, I heard Jay. All right.
PV1973 says, just review the video feed. And my boy Jason said, CJ.
Come on, man. Sold me down the river. Chris says, I heard it. Sorry. All right, fine. Maybe I said it. I'm still going to disagree.
You can disagree. Just deny.
All right. I think we're going to call it a night. It's getting late. And I think we'll see you guys definitely next Wednesday, hopefully. Hopefully, definitely. And next Wednesday, same time, same place. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And all the moderators holding down the fort and all the super chats and new members and member gifts and all of those things. That was so awesome of you. Really appreciate it. Nice questions. All the winners, you'll get your stuff. We'll get the stuff out in the next couple of days. Joanna's got to make some trips to the UPS store and the mailing place, and otherwise known as the post office, the mailing place. You know it's getting late when I say stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see you hopefully next Wednesday. And thanks for being here. And yeah, check out that link in the description. We've got the magazine link. If you want to check it out for Amazonas. Y'all have a nice week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye, everybody.